Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brittany and I am currently a homeschool mom of 3, and this is my 4th pregnancy that I'll be giving bump dates on. So as I record this, I'm 7 weeks and 1 day. I've calculated my due date to be December 22nd, which is really exciting. In my baby announcement, I talked about why the holidays is such a special time for us to have a baby this year, and so we're just really excited for that. But in my what to expect app, I've downloaded that to kind of give the kids an idea each week of how big the baby is, and there's like 3 different sections on it that there's like 3 different genres of like the size of the baby that you can pick. So there's like movie memorabilia type things, and the fruits and veggies and stuff like that, and then there's one that's called 80s and 90s nostalgia. So last week I looked at it, but this week I kind of switched that to that setting, and this week baby is the size of a lemon head. So I thought my kids would really get a kick out of knowing like what candy size it is, because if there's one thing my kids know, it's candy. So baby is the size of a lemon head this week, and funny enough, that's my husband's favorite candy, so we've been calling it Little Lemon. But as far as my symptoms and stuff, I was so thankful because they've subsided a little bit. So I've had no more vomiting, which has been such a blessing, and that could all change, you know, with hormones fluctuating. But I'm still pretty nauseous, but it's manageable. Nothing sounds good to me right now. But if something does for like a second, I'm like, I'm gonna eat it right now. So it's been tuna the last 2 days. I'm gonna, you know, try to minimize the amount of larger fish that I intake because of mercury and things like that. And in case you were wondering, because I know it can be confusing with fish and worrying about mercury poisoning and things like that, a good rule of thumb is to eat lower on the food chain with fish. So like large fish, because they eat smaller fish, they're going to contain more mercury. But when you're eating lower on the food chain, such as shrimp, scallops, things like that, salmon is great for you, smaller fish like that, you can eat in pretty good moderation because they are very low in mercury, because they're not eating up other life that has already had mercury in it. Does that make sense? I had a boss that taught me that about mercury, because that always confused me, and I always had to look up what fish I could have pretty regularly. But that's a really good rule of thumb, is just eating lower on the food chain, so eating smaller fish. But tuna with dill pickles and mayonnaise on toasted bread has been my go-to for the last 2 days. I did eat it in a quinoa bowl yesterday, and it was really good. But I cannot eat meat. I hate meat right now. Meat is disgusting. I can't do it. And then I'm loving salty foods. So pickles, banana peppers, pickled jalapenos, anything like that, I am here for. And I remember feeling like that with Maggie. I just remember like I would make a salad with like a lot of vinegar and lemon in it, and then I would put a ton of olives in it. So if you had to ask me today, this will probably change next week, but right now I'm kind of thinking it's a girl. So I just remember like wanting all the carbs with my girls, wanting sweets. Right now I don't want a ton of sweets, but I did with Maggie want vinegar-based things, salty foods, things like that. And then like I worked my way up to like, I really could just tolerate simple carbs a lot of the time. And then I tried to balance it out with veggies. But with Tate, I wanted steak and potatoes. I wanted like substantial meals. But with my girls, I don't really want that. But anyway, so the only other symptom that I'm having that really is just bugging me is that I'm bloated from the time that I start eating in the morning until I go to bed. So I look already like I'm 4 or 5 months pregnant by the end of the day. And I know it's just water retention and things like that. And because of progesterone and things like that increasing in my body, my digestion is slower. And in my body, digestion is like very noticeable to me. I know if I've had bread, and I know when I've had dairy, and I'm trying to go off of those things, but right now with cravings, I'm being forgiving of myself when I'm wanting those things. Like last night, the baby wanted nachos. I say the baby wanted nachos, but I had been thinking of like vegetarian nachos with black beans and corn and like some sour cream on it with some Frank's hot sauce and pickled jalapenos. Oh, I probably ate half a jar of pickled jalapenos last night. It was a situation and I paid for it, but it was so good. And I have just enjoyed things like that with black beans, or it's kinds of protein like that where it's not meat, but I am just bloated all the time. And as far as weight gain, when I weigh myself in the mornings, I've not gained any weight yet. I had stayed, my beginning weight with this pregnancy was 122. And I weighed myself 2 days ago, first thing in the morning, and I had actually lost probably like half a pound. So I was down to like 121 and a half or so. But you would think that I've gained like 8 or 9 pounds by the end of every day. So that's really frustrating for me, but things that I'm gonna do to help that are, I'm probably gonna find a good probiotic. And I also used to buy these all the time and I just kind of like fell away from it, but I definitely need to get them back. And that is getting digestive enzymes. My stomach does so much better with digestive enzymes. So there's specifically one that I bought a lot last year that I just bought things in its place because I do monthly orders with doTERRA, and they had it's called Terrazyme, and those were the best digestive enzymes that I had found. So I'm probably going to order some of those next week and just try to minimize my gluten and dairy intake, just because I know that it makes me feel like I've got a rock sit in my stomach when I eat those things. But I am gonna continue to be more forgiving, because if something sounds good, if you've been pregnant, you know, like you've got to have it and you needed to have it yesterday. So that's what I'm gonna be doing for my bloating and slow digestive situation. I'm trying to keep a jar with me at all times because I know this is 25 ounces. So I'm trying to drink 3 of these a day. Listen, that's my goal. Like, that doesn't mean that I'm doing that every day, but my goal is 3 of these. I think this will be my 3rd if I can get through it tonight. So I've been a little slower because I do try to take a nap in the afternoons right now. And so I think that slows me down because I'm not picking up my water as often because I'm not moving as often. I guess I've been a lot slower lately. I've not worked out. I've not gotten out to walk as much. I've played with the kids, but I've been like sitting outside watching them, things like that, just because I am still really exhausted. But other than that, I feel a lot better this past week than I did when I filmed the baby announcement, and the weeks prior to that, I felt horrible. But I can usually get 1 cup of coffee in. With my other pregnancies, I couldn't drink coffee. With my first 2, I couldn't. And then with Maggie, baby girl was a little more forgiving with her mama, and I could usually drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and then I couldn't have any the rest of the day. It sounded terrible to me. It smelled horrible. But with Maggie and with this baby, I've been able to drink about 1 cup in the mornings, and it kind of sustains me through the morning and the early afternoon. So I'm really thankful for that, because if you've known me before I was pregnant, you know I drink coffee like a Gilmore girl. I love coffee, and I drink coffee from the time I get up until basically dinner. I love coffee. So no weight gain. I've not had any swelling. Like I said, if I had to guess today what it was going to be, I think it's going to be a girl. My dad is just convinced that I'm having a boy. And I would love that because we have a name for each one picked out already, but I really want to know what it is before I get excited and start telling names. But I am anxious to tell you what our names are because I really love them. And I don't know what you guys think, and I did work on L&D as a nurse when I was working full-time as a registered nurse, but I've always felt, because I am a Christian, that the panorama test that they offer, I just never felt comfortable getting it because I didn't want to feel like I was questioning God or testing God to see if something was wrong. I know that doesn't make any sense, and 95% of the time people are probably getting that because they can find the gender of the baby out a lot sooner. But I've just always felt like I wasn't putting my faith where I needed to. And as crazy as that sounds, I've been battling whether or not we're going to do that this time. We've never done it before, but I really want to know what the sex of the baby is, first of all, because this is my fourth and we do have names picked out, and why not, you know? But then at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. I've never done it. I've never felt the need to. I always completely trusted God, and I do this time. But, you know, it's kind of like you feel like you're going back on your word with him, even though I just want to find out what it is. So I'm going back and forth with that, and I won't be having my blood tests until I think the end of the month. I have 3 different appointments through my OBGYN this month to do all of my establishing appointments with them for this pregnancy. So tomorrow, as I'm filming this, I'm filming on a Sunday, and so I'll be having my first appointment to check viability on Monday. And I feel like it's a healthy pregnancy because I felt worse, but I'll probably ask them, you know, to check with my insurance to see how much it might cost for me to do that. But I don't get my blood test done until the end of the month. So I go tomorrow, and then I have a Skype appointment on the 10th, I believe, and then I go back at the end of the month to do my blood testing and to talk to insurance about setting up our plan and everything, our financial plan for the baby. So you know, usually that's like a 3-hour appointment when you first go, and you do all of that in one sitting. You do ultrasound, you talk to the doctor, you get your blood test done, and you talk to insurance. You know, you get all 4 done in like a 2 to 3 hour period, and all that's out of the way. But it's just been kind of like frustrating and confusing to have to go back 3 different times and to have a Skype call. But I'm just thankful that I can get in, and I'm thankful that they're taking precautions to be able to see the moms when they need to. I have the best doctor. I love her. She's delivered all but one of my babies, and the only reason she didn't deliver Lorelai was because I was working as a nurse on the unit that I would be delivering on, and so I had my baby there. But after I left the hospital, I went back to my old doctor, and I just love her, and I love the nurses that are in the office. I love the nurses at the hospital that I'll be delivering at, and that is such a blessing to say that you just completely trust the staff in all areas. But as far as testing goes, I don't know about you, but I've never done the panorama test. I've never felt the need to, but this time I don't know. We may do it just to find out the sex if it's not going to be crazy expensive through our insurance. But the only other thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that no one can go with me. And with Maggie, my kids were old enough, even though Lorelai was still little, Tate and Lorelai still understood, you know, we were having a baby. They actually went to, they didn't go with my first appointment, my first ultrasound, but they did at the 20-week ultrasound when we found out that it was a girl, and they were there, and it was just a special time for us as a family. They went to a lot of appointments with me because Paul would be working, and I'm a homeschool mom typically, and you know, the office knows them well. The office has seen my family grow up, and this time I'm going alone, and I'm sitting in the car until they call me in, and I'm strictly going in for ultrasound and coming out. And for such a friendly office, I know that that's hard for them to just kind of be at a, you know, arm's length with you, and for us to not just be able to chat and sit in the waiting room. And so it's just sad to start your pregnancy out like that in such a awkward period when you know that you would really enjoy going to the office and talking to these people. But I am just very thankful that I still get to use this office and this doctor. But so the last thing I need to do is show you my bump. Now I will say, like I said, I've been a little bloated, and I need to do like a before in the mornings and an after for you guys because it's so bad. But I'm gonna show you my bump, and I do feel like I've already got like a lower abdominal pooch. I already feel like my pants fit differently and things like that. So I can definitely tell that because it's not been quite 2 years since I had my last baby, that my body's like, oh, we've done this before. Like, we're just gonna ramp it up right now because we know what to do, okay? It's not been that long ago. And I distinctly remember being like that with Lorelai because she was about, I got pregnant with her exactly as Tate turned 2. So I remember I gained weight a lot quicker, and my hips grew wide and things like that the first 20 weeks. And then I kind of plateaued a little bit, and I probably only gained like 7 or 8 pounds after that. But it all went to my stomach. But I just remember everybody being like, you're gaining weight kind of quickly with this one. And so I feel like that's how it's gonna be this time. It's just like, my body's done it. It wasn't too long ago that it did it. And so it's like, okay, we're just getting this done. So I'll probably be growing a little quicker the first half of my pregnancy than my last half. And I'm okay with that. I know that my body does that, and that's okay. I know with a lot of women, you can go in and you're like, I gained 5 pounds in a month. Like, how is that possible? Or 8 pounds or something like that. And they're like, well, you should really slow down, you know, and they have to say that. But in my mind, I know my body will act a little quicker with this pregnancy because it's not been long ago that I had Maggie. Okay, so I'll show you the bump. I do have a fitted camisole on under this shirt. So I'll just roll this up. And you know, of course I had to have high-waisted pants on for this. But so typically I'm flat. Like, I'm not a super toned person anyway, but you can tell right here that I'm already kind of like curving out. And I don't think I was quite ready to see that, if I'm being totally honest, but I know it's because my body's just doing what it should. So there's the bump pic. So there it is. There's little Lemon. I do this because I can just tell that my uterus has already come up a little bit and grown. That's my bump date for week 7. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll probably get a little bit better at these as we go on, but I'm so excited to just document this pregnancy with you guys and just give you some encouragement that you're not the only one feeling bad. You're not the only one wondering what's going on or having questions or anything like that. So drop some comments below of things that you might be internally struggling with, or are you worried? Let me pray for you. I would love to have prayer requests dropped in my comments on any of my videos. I'll be saying that a lot more. I want to be praying for you, just like I know you'll probably be praying for my baby. So, or if you've got family stuff going on, you're struggling with something, let me know. I'm a prayer. I love to pray, and I definitely want to be praying for you and encouraging you and lifting you up the same way that you guys are for me. So I hope you have a good evening, and I will see you next week with my next bump date. Bye.